Welcome everyone to the second episode of Nerdistan, a podcast where we celebrate being nerds and being weird. Yes, we are actually coming back to do a second episode. And I know it's very surprising considering that no one really saw the first episode, but we still want to do this. And this was a week with a lot of news. So we decided to, let's do another episode. So joining me today is my good friend Jay Nair.
Hi everyone, how are you, Manoj?
Yeah, I'm very good. We just want to give the listeners a fair tidbit. This is actually the second time we're recording the second episode.
Oh, tell me about it, man.
We actually recorded this episode yesterday, but we had some very faulty technicalities, uh, so it didn't get recorded. So we basically spoke for like 90 minutes, and nothing got recorded. But we don't give up. We have taken inspiration from the Snyder Cut movement. We won't back down. We will
That's a
keep
good
going,
reference, man.
and
That's a good one.
so we will try this one more time today, and then tomorrow we'll get it right because third time's the charm.
No, no, please don't. I can't, just can't do it the three times.
Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Hopefully.
So this week we had lots of news coming. And that's why we decided to do the podcast. Like, we didn't do a podcast last week, but we did do a podcast 2 weeks back, and that was related to Avengers Endgame. You can check that out in the channel. So today we're going to discuss about Tenet and the Justice League. So the Tenet of trailer just dropped. Not just dropped, it dropped yesterday. And Jay has actually made a very extensive breakdown
Yes,
of
I have.
everything in the trailer.
Yes, yes,
He
yes,
has
finally.
uncovered everything that Nolan has tried to put in. Like there is like all the spoilers are out if you watch the breakdown.
Uh, I'm so glad that I
I mean,
finally made it out. Like, I was not sure. Like, yesterday only we were talking, like, let's hope the video makes out before the actual movie releases. And now,
yeah,
due to technical issues, the podcast got delayed. And now, before the
yeah,
podcast, it has already got uploaded. So I'm very happy.
yeah,
And the response is
yeah,
actually pretty good. I was like surprised by the response.
yeah. Pretty good, pretty good. Jay did a fantastic job.
Thanks,
Actually, I was
thanks.
exaggerating before. He's not going to spoil it, but he has made an earnest attempt to uncover everything from the trailer. So that's really cool. And I think Jay, you should like share your thoughts on the Tenet trailer. Just brief thoughts, so that people
Okay.
would check out your full video.
So, anything with Christopher Nolan name in it, already in. I don't want to watch anything or
Sure,
know
sure.
anything about the movie. Like, even if that man
Yeah.
is shooting a commercial, even a 30-second commercial, I don't care. I want to watch it as soon as possible.
True, true,
It's
true,
like I'm that crazy
true.
about him. And it's
Yeah,
like everyone, especially after his consistency in the film career, like one
yeah.
after another masterpieces, The Prestige,
Like none of
Inception,
those
and
films are
Interest.
bad. Like there's not
Yes,
one film that's bad in that.
exactly. Like
Everything are excellent.
everything, especially like he has made,
Like
I think, he has made 11 movies so far, including Tenet,
yeah,
and out of
yeah.
those, at least 8 to 9 of those movies have 8 or 8 plus rating. Now that's a huge phenomenon to achieve.
True, 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 true. I mean, I think Christopher Nolan is like that A+ student you have in school. Like he
Oh,
has consistent A grades throughout.
and I think he
Oh
literally
wait,
has A
wait,
plus all over his career. Like, he
wait,
knows
wait.
so
I
much.
can give a shout out. I can
Oh,
give a shout out to one of my friends here. I think you know her, Garima, in
okay.
SBS Finance.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
give her a shout out here because no one is gonna listen to this anyways. So
No,
Crystal Nolan is like Garima. She
no,
gets
she will definitely
consistent A
watch the
grades
video.
throughout. I'll tell her to come at this exact timestamp. Like today when I shared your video, she actually
Mm,
responded. She said that, "Is this Jay?" I'm like, "Yeah, we started a channel." She's like, "Oh, that's really cool."
mm. You know,
Anyway, going back. Oh yeah, yeah. Go on.
I'm glad you
Go.
brought her up because today only, like, we have
Yeah,
to submit the assignment tomorrow. So
yeah,
I was talking to one
yeah.
of my friend and we were discussing that only one person in the whole finance class will have the answers of all the questions already, and that is none other than
Obviously.
Garima.
Garima, yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think if we get any like listeners outside biology, which is very unlikely, like they
Hmm.
would all be like, "Who is this Garima? Like, why is this? Why are they
Garima.
suddenly talking about her? Like, we were talking about Nolan a minute back." I would say this, like the perfection that Nolan goes for, we
Hmm.
see that in Garima in her studies. That's why
Yeah.
we have brought her up. And now we're
Uh,
going to go back on topic.
uh,
Continue, Jay.
so like the Tenet trailer is dope. The first one was actually impressive, especially with the second one. They somehow manages to show more but reveal less. I don't know how it's
Yeah, yeah.
possible. Like they were
Only Nolan
showing,
can do that, man.
like exactly. I was so confused while watching it. Like I was enjoying every bit of it, but I was not really getting
Yeah.
what is happening, why is happening, how is happening,
Yeah.
because like
Sure. Like
no.
when I was watching the trailer, I was like, as each scene unfolded, I was like, oh, I need to know more. I need to know more and more. But I wasn't understanding anything. I was just getting into it, like oh wow, cool, cool. But then I had zilch. I had no idea what was happening throughout the trailer, but it looked so exciting.
Oh, definitely, definitely, so exciting. Like especially with the
Yeah.
time issue. I mean, everyone was
Oh
thinking it
man.
to be time travel. Then Robert Pattinson on his birthday says that no, there is no time travel at all. Now it made me
Yeah.
more confused. Like, if there is no
Yeah.
time travel, then what the actual life is happening?
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's fair to point out that Robert Pattinson has never been like very straight with his fans. He has always like fooled them, like even in the past. So like we can't take his word for like surety, I guess.
But I really want him to be true this time, because if it is not time travel, then this one is definitely going to be as fascinating, as interesting as the Inception. Because like if there is no
Yeah, yeah,
time
true,
travel,
true.
then how will they define and describe the reversing things happening, insertion, whatever they
Yeah,
are calling it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that will be cool to watch.
I mean, I feel like this film definitely has the same scope as Inception in
Oh,
terms
for
of its
sure, for sure.
visual ideas. Like, dude, the reverse action scenes, like where the car sort of flips back and the camera is actually going straight. So
Oh
it's like the
yes.
camera is actually going forward, like a normal shot, but the cars is reversing, and man, it looks so good.
Like when the first trailer was launched, and in the end, like the scientist, I think the scientist or Dimple Kapadia said that don't try to understand it, feel it. I just felt
Yeah,
that, like so badly. Like
yeah,
obviously I can't understand what Christopher Nolan is telling from the trailer,
yeah,
but I can feel it. I can
yeah,
feel the
yeah,
passion.
yeah. True, true. I mean, you can feel like something epic is happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I have immense faith in Nolan. Like, he is my favorite director of all time because, like, when
mine
I
too,
was,
mine too.
I think yeah, like I spoke about this yesterday, but obviously, no one, like, it didn't get recorded, but I'll say it again. Like, The Dark Knight was one of those movies that I saw when I was just 10 years old, and the last shot of the movie where Batman goes in his Batmobile, and we have Gordon standing aside, and Gordon says that he's not the hero that we deserve, but the one that we need right now, and like just those lines, and you have Batman sort of going in his Batmobile away from running away from the cops, and his cape is all like going like in the back, like flowing very beautifully, and then he goes and Gordon says, "And a dark night." And then it cuts, and I was like inspired for life. Like the 10-year-old watching it, I was completely blown away. I didn't know movies could do that to you, but from that point onwards, I think Nolan introduced me to these kinds of movies that had more depth, that had more story. So I would always be immensely grateful for him making all these movies because it really inspired the movie or the amateur filmmaker in me.
True. Like
Yeah.
I'm so glad and still surprised by how and what he exactly did with the Batman trilogy. Like, with the
Oh,
it
dude.
was a superhero movie, but
Yeah.
it was not like any other superhero movie we have ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
and the like, Christopher Nolan is hates the CG and 3D things, right? So
True, true,
and
true.
and
He's a big
for
advocate of IMAX.
yeah, for him to enter into a superhero world and make a trilogy out of it was itself a big deal. And
True, true, true.
when he presented that in such a big way and like insane way, the Batman trilogy is supposed to be most of the simplest movie he has ever made. If you compare it with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Memento and
Yeah,
Prestige,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
still, it's the most impactful one out of all. Like, especially the Dark Knight,
True,
man.
true.
Like, it took the world by
The
storm.
Dark Knight is essentially just a crime thriller.
Yes,
Like if you
exactly.
look at it at its core, but he took that, and I feel like the Dark Knight trilogy is responsible for many of the new superhero movies because if you look at most of the movies that came out from 2008 to like 2012, 2013, all these new superhero movies, including movies like Iron Man, if you if you look at the inspirations for those movies, like if you look at interviews with those directors, like specifically Iron Man, if you look at the interviews with John Favreau while Iron Man was in production, he names Batman Begins as one of the inspirations behind, making this origin movie for Iron Man. So I think Batman Begins, like it completely revolutionized the way origin stories were told for superhero movies.
True, and not only it's what like the only the superhero movies were inspired from it. Every kind of
Yeah, yeah,
filmmaker
true,
all
true.
over the world was definitely inspired by it.
Yeah, there was
Let me
more grounded approach.
Yes, I have seen so many of the film movies, like
Yeah.
as it is copying the sequence from the Batman trilogy. Like I want to say one example, like in the Dark Knight, the
Mhm.
Joker introduction scene, right? Where
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Joker is shown in the first scene with his mask in his hand, but then he kills
yeah,
and kills, and he at the end he was shown finally shown. That scene is
yeah.
exactly copied by one of the movie which is made by Telugu filmmaker Trivikram. I think the name of the
Oh,
movie
really?
is, yes, I think the name of the movie is July. Like I
Okay, like this wouldn't be the first time they're ripping off Nolan. I mean, Gajini was literally Memento for dummies.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, and I'm not insulting Gajini as a movie, but
No,
I'm saying, they just simplified the
because of,
plot to the point where, it's basically Memento for dummies.
yeah, exactly. And AR Murugas did a very great job with it too, because like you have to understand the demographics of the
Yeah,
area
true,
in
true,
which your movie is going to be releasing. You can't just
true, true.
make something like Memento and expect it to do huge business
Yeah.
in
But
the.
I guess what I don't like is that I think like it was not an official remake or there was no
Yeah, yeah,
connection
yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of the rights or anything like that. So it's kind
Yes,
of
yes.
disrespectful if you think of not like in a way it's also like kind of applauding, like honoring because you're copying someone else. Like imitation, there's no better like flattery than imitation. But still, I mean,
Yeah, like
I
that's
feel
what.
like that, like
Yeah, it should. They should actually, at least if you're copying someone's work, you should give him the due credit.
yeah. I mean, and everyone knows it was ripped off from Memento, so it doesn't make
Ah,
much of a difference.
true. That's also there.
Anyway, I'm super excited for Tenet. I think it's going to be an amazing movie. There's not much to talk about right now because I think all the characters, everything, it's very vague. We don't really
Yes.
have anything to go off for the most part of it, and uh, Jay has done a pretty extensive breakdown. He has tried his best to like uncover some of like to uncover what the movie actually is. But I'm looking forward to it because the action scenes look great. Unfortunately, I think it's not going to be Hans Zimmer doing the music this time, but oh man, we looked at this yesterday, right? We looked this
Yeah,
up yesterday, and I forgot his name.
me too.
But it's definitely a change in terms of the music. But I'm
Yeah.
still looking forward to it. I think the music in the trailer sounded really good, and if those music scores are actually from the director, then I don't mind it. I think we will get
I like
something that's worthwhile.
if
I'm just
if
like taking the Tenet Wikipedia page. I mean, I know this is not professional, but I just want to look at their names before like because okay, Ludwig Göransson. I hope that's how I hope that's how it's pronounced. He's doing the music, and he has done some amazing scores. Like he has done music for movies like Fruitvale Station, which is as far as I can remember, it's a Michael Jordan movie. It's a pretty good movie,
yeah,
I
Ryan
think.
Coogler and Michael Jordan first
From
movie.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
He has
remember
also
that one.
done Creed and Creed 2, which is
Okay,
also really
that's
good.
nice. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, but he's also done Venom, which I don't really care for that much. But I
Yes.
know there are Venom fans out there. It's completely fine. But if you want to watch a good Venom movie, just watch Upgrade. That's
Oh
what I
my
would say.
God. I know it's.
He
Uh,
also did work on Black Panther. So, I'm pretty excited. Oh, he's also done music and TV for shows like New Girl, The Mandalorian. So his
Oh,
work is pretty good. His work is pretty good. Like I don't remember exactly any score from New Girl, but the Mandalorian score was pretty good. Actually,
yeah,
now coming to think of it, the Mandalorian score had a little bit of greed in it. Actually, like
true. Like it kind of all makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
So I guess
I
I can see what he's trying to do.
And there's this one thing, if Christopher Nolan is deciding to work with someone, he must be pretty good at it. Like it's the same thing
True,
when
true, true.
he casted Heath Ledger for the Joker role. Everyone was
Yeah,
like bashing him in like, who is this guy? Then he turned
yeah.
out to be the greatest performer anyone has ever seen in that particular area. Then he
Yeah,
casted
yeah.
Harry Styles for Dunkirk, and everyone was again
Oh, he did
complaining.
amazing. I was so surprised.
Yeah,
I
like
was really surprised by his performance.
I was like, oh my god, I am not even to recognize him in the
I heard
small
some
screen.
rumors that I heard some rumors that Christopher Nolan had no idea who he was. Like he just casted him based on his audition, something like that. I'm not very sure how true that is though.
Yeah, it could be true though, because there is this
I
videos I
mean,
have seen.
yeah, I
Uh,
don't think Nolan is someone who like listens to One Direction like on a daily basis.
Obviously, like those guys are pretty much committed to their work only. I don't think like there's this
Yeah,
video
yeah,
which I have seen and is stuck in my head. Like Christopher Nolan is attending a hip hop. I don't know what it was like. It was a party or like a Tomorrowland thing, and he was just everyone around him was like headbanging to the music, and he was just standing still with a still face, and I laughed so hard. Like if I able to find that clip now, I will definitely send it to you, and you can show it, put it on the while editing. That will be
oh,
good.
more editing. Wow. No, we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Uh,
I don't want to make another Tenet video because I feel like your video covers everything that we want to do. So
yes.
I mean, I don't want to like put another. I don't want to oversaturate the market.
Thank God.
But it'll be very cool. Like I have also heard that Christopher Nolan never uses a phone. Like he never
Oh,
uses a phone. That's
okay.
I feel like that's why he's so creative. Like he's so focused. Like like when you have your phone with you, you're always distracted all the time. And we now live in a day and age where we can't live without our phone. Like it's not just like there's so much stuff that comes, like so much work that comes through your phone, and like
Hmm.
so many like things you have to do in your life because of your phone. So we are like so attached to our phones in our way of life. So I don't think we can live without our phones. But Cristiano is someone who these are also rumors, but apparently he stays away from using phones and stuff. So and that makes total sense to me. Like
I
that's
mean,
probably one of the reasons why his movies are so creative.
if you're at the position of Christopher Nolan, I think you can do whatever you want to because no one
True,
will
true.
go against you. Like, you are the greatest
Yeah.
filmmaker. For me, he is the greatest
True, true.
filmmaker of the current generation.
Yeah.
So even if he
Yeah,
uses his
yeah.
phone,
Yeah.
it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. True, true. And I think I just want to point out one thing that Nolan, he's not really known as a great action director.
Hmm.
Like if you look at, he's known for spectacle scenes. Like if you look at Dark Knight Rises, the opening scene where the plane scene where
Oh my
Bane sort of
God,
comes
that
down, and
scene!
that
I've
scene is
seen that scene
amazing.
in IMAX, man. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
but
it's
he's not known for his stunt choreography. Because if you look at it, even if you look at Dark Knight Rises, there are multiple instances where the actual fight, the actual hand-to-hand combat is pretty weak. Like I think that's one of his like low points. But I feel like in this movie, I think he might be ramping that up as well. Like I feel like we'll
yeah,
get some great action scenes in this.
yes, for
Like
sure because
even maybe even the handed choreography might not be that great in this also, but dude, some of those ideas that he has for the action scenes, dude, like it's like Inception all over again. Like Inception, remember the hallway fight scene with Joseph
oh
Gordon-Levitt like
yes.
flying around? I feel
Hmm.
like we're gonna get a lot of that in this. Like not similar but different ideas, but say which will match the spectacle of Inception in many ways.
I think John David Washington has said somewhere that the action set pieces in this movie is like the climax of any other action movie, and there are many
Yeah,
action set pieces here. So I'm definitely looking
yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah, I read something where he said that it'll like reinvent action movies for like the next
10 15
10 to
years.
15
He
years.
will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's a little cocky, I think. Like if I worked with Nolan, I would like try to like downgrade it. Like I would be like, it's all right, you guys, because the last thing you want is for you to like say so much about a movie and a movie not meeting expectations. But look, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen with this. Like I have so much
Yeah,
faith
for
in
sure.
Nolan that
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be like amazing. And this movie actually has a lot of collaborators. Wow, my English just went there for a
It's better
second.
than
This movie has
mine.
no, I don't think so. This movie has a lot of collaborators which he has not worked with before, but there is one sticking point, that is Michael Caine. He's again back. He's been part of
Oh,
most of Nolan movies, so it's
he's the
nice to see
only
him back.
constant, man. He's the only
Yeah,
constant in
I
Nolan
don't think he
universe.
was there in his first movie. The first like student movie that
Yeah.
Nolan made, it's
No,
called The
no, no.
Following.
It was in the
He's not
following
there in
movie.
that, but I think ever since the next movie,
Prestige.
I
I
think
think
within
after Prestige.
Memento.
Yeah, after
Yeah, after
Prestige, he's
Prestige.
in everyone. Everyone.
No, I think Batman Begins came before Prestige, right?
Yeah, in 2005 it came, right?
Five. Prestige came in 2006. So I think ever
Oh,
since Batman Begins, he's been there in every movie, and he's like Nolan's good luck charm, I think.
yeah.
So yeah, but it's nice to see Michael Caine. Have you seen that video there's an interview with the Graham Norton show where Michael Caine there's this joke about how they call him Michael Cocaine.
What?
Yeah, I mean, there's a video like that. I don't remember the joke exactly, but whenever I see Michael Caine's name, I always remember that joke.
I
you
will watch
like
that
you,
video for sure.
yeah, just check that out. Like, I think even the listeners of
Okay.
the show, just YouTube Graham Norton show Michael Cocaine. Like, it's a really funny bit about. I think it's based on one of his experiences in a party or something where people sort of misinterpreted his name, something like that. I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure, but yeah, I remember. I vaguely remember that. So this movie is shaping up to be really good, and we are all very excited for a detailed sort of breakdown. Please check out Jay Nayar's video on Tenet. It's there in the channel, and it's a very good breakdown. Like the podcast episodes are generally relaxed to be a lot more. Sorry, generally like intended to be a lot more relaxed, where we just sort of sit back and talk about movies. But the content
Hmm.
videos which we put on YouTube is a lot more focused. So
Yeah.
just bear with us.
And
And
time consuming as well.
yeah, a lot. This one is hopefully, you see, for podcast episodes, if the recording goes off smoothly, there's not a lot of work to be done in the editing side of things. It is a lot of work to be done if the recording doesn't go well. But let's just hope that it goes well this time.
Yeah, it will, it will, it will.
Yeah, so that's it. That's it for Tenant. Now we are moving on to the next topic. Next up, we're going to talk about the Justice League. So everyone, so today, like not today, I keep saying today. 2 3 days back, Zack Snyder announced that the Snyder Cut, his original vision for Justice League, is coming out. Now there are a ton of videos on YouTube talking about the Snyder Cut. We are not going to do that.
Yeah,
We will be
what's the
doing
use
that,
of that?
but yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing different about that. So we thought we'll do something a bit more funny.
Mhm.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to review Justice League, the Joss Whedon version, the theatrical version, but we're going to do something different with this. And Jay doesn't know what we're going to do. This is I came up with this idea, but I didn't tell him. What we're going to do is we're going to step into Joss Whedon's shoes, and we're
Okay.
going to look at this film from his eyes. So we're going to be like, at March 2017, Zack Snyder left the project. And so we are brought in to the project of Justice League, and we are told to lighten the project up and to make this project 2 hours long. Like to make a theatrical movie 2 hours long, we're told to make this movie more simplified, more marvelized, basically. Like basically, this should be the Avengers for us. That's what DC's like brief is to us, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to like discuss the Justice League movie, and we're going to go about all the changes that Joss Whedon made, and we're going to try and understand his thinking behind this. Like, why has he done this scene like this? And we're going to compare it with the Snyder Cut a little bit. So we're going to do something a little different here. Jay, are you up for this?
Well, you really caught me off guard here.
Do
I'm
you have
s-
any issues with this? You can tell
no,
me.
no, not at all. It sounds so exciting. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, because I just thought it was a funny way of doing this.
Yeah,
So, okay, now we're going
it
to start with
is.
the review of We are going to start with the review
Justice,
of Justice League. Justice
Justice
League.
League.
Okay, so the film opens with the infamous scene of Superman talking to a kid. It's a cell phone footage, and the only problem is Superman doesn't look like Superman because his upper lip looks completely off.
That's
Now,
like understating it.
so I mean, to people who don't know, I feel like most people know this, but I'll just give a brief rundown in case you're like listening to the show just for us and you're like, I have no idea what's happening. So, Henry Cavill, the actor playing Superman, had a mustache during these scenes because he was shooting for Mission Impossible Fallout, where he was playing the
Yes.
villain role. And in that role, he was like just to fit the character. That it was a character choice that he would grow a mustache. Now, this Justice League reshoots were a bit unplanned, so he didn't think that he would have to come for the reshoots. So when this was happening, Zack Snyder was. Well, there are rumors that Zack Snyder was asked to leave or he was fired, but the official version is that he left the project to grieve because his daughter had committed suicide, and it was a pretty tragic thing to happen. So Zack Snyder leaves the project and Joss Whedon is brought in. Now, the original vision, the original pitch by the studio to the public was that Joss Whedon was just brought in just to carry out Zack Snyder's version and just to touch up a few things here and there. Like the film wouldn't undergo major changes, but we all know that was a complete lie. The
Yes, it
film was
was a
completely
lie.
changed. So Superman
Obviously,
had
it
a
was a lie.
mustache, which he couldn't shave off, and they had to use VFX to like map out the mustache completely. The problem was that the VFX artists weren't given much time or money to do this. That's why it looks very bad. So the movie starts with this horrendous mustache scene where Superman is trying to talk to a kid, and you have the scene where it's very distracting. Like we keep looking at his lips because it looks so weird, and the scene is completely unnecessary. I mean, out of all the things that Jocelyn was trying to insert into this movie, this scene I will never understand. Like, I don't understand what was the need to insert such a scene.
Like, you say distracting, I will go with disturbing. Totally disturbing image, man. That was nightmare. Like the first shot of the movie, I'm seeing Henry Cavill is such a handsome guy, and he's
Oh,
playing
dude, he's
Superman.
amazingly handsome. Like,
Yeah,
I just want to
he's.
say, just a insert here that I really hope he gets to play the next James Bond. Just an insert.
Oh yes, but I heard
Okay,
that.
good. Continue, continue.
Okay,
Yeah, I know. Someone else might be playing it, but
Idris
still.
Elba. Idris Elba is also good.
Yeah, I just survive. Even I heard that. Even he
Okay.
will be good. But for me, like when I think of Bond, I think of Henry
Hmm.
Cavill because I feel like he has that charm. But go on. We don't want to go off topic here.
Yeah, yeah. See, that was pretty disturbing image. Like the first frame we are
Yeah.
shown Superman, like I think they didn't even hire VFX artists for it. I think Joss Whedon must have sit in the editing room and let's go
No, no,
do
no, no,
this.
no, no, no. No, no, no. He doesn't. Look, I think it's very evident from the entire movie that he doesn't understand the pains that the VFX artists actually go through in making a movie. Because, like, we will come to that, but he definitely ill-treated the VFX artist. Like, I'm not saying ill-treated in a way that, he was like being harsh to them or anything, but just the way he, like, modified so much of their work, like, instructed them to modify so much of their work. It's just really bad.
And
So,
I
yeah,
think the
go on, go
major
on.
reason was like the Warner Brothers were pushing the Joss Whedon and the team to make it finalized before the actual release date, and they were sticking to it only. Like they could have
Yeah.
just pushed the movie a year later so that whenever Snyder will feel right, they could join. But I know
No, but
financially,
they couldn't do that.
yeah, financially
No,
it
no, not
doesn't
because
work.
of that.
Hmm.
Not because of that also. See, there were during that financial year,
Hmm.
this is the same financial year where Wonder Woman came out and Warner Brothers had a couple of other hits.
Okay.
So they were in a place where if they crossed a certain figure
Hmm.
in box office receipts, the executives of WB would get a bonus. So
Okay.
that's why they wanted to release Justice League. Now, I'm not sure if these are rumors, but I've heard this from pretty like official sources. Not official, but pretty like well-known sources that this
Hmm.
actually was a thing that happened. Like because the leadership that time in WB was not the best.
It's clearly, man. If that's the case, then I'm really disappointed for the whole team.
Yeah,
Like, you,
yeah.
for oh my god, this is like I can't
It
believe that.
was completely money. Like the whole thing with bringing in Joss Whedon, it's all like they just wanted him. Like it's like marketing basically. Like you saw someone else make a product, and you're bringing him in like to make the same product for you, but just change things a little so that it's differentiated enough.
Yes.
It's like iPhone and Samsung. Like that's what they try to like do here.
Wow, that's a great
iPhone was the
analogy.
Avengers, and Samsung was like I'm not trying to downgrade Samsung here, just to
You
like
better take that back. I'm telling you, you better take
Samsung
that
is a
back.
great phone. They have
Yeah.
sponsored this video. This video is brought to you by.
Samsung iPhone.
But okay, I think I understand why Joss Whedon was trying to do this because he was trying to reintegrate Superman. Because there was a lot of complaints against Superman saying that he was a very sad figure in Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. So I understand, but the whole point of BVS, yeah, like that movie is very flawed. But the whole point of BVS was that the world finally accepted Superman. Like even in the end, in the funeral, you see all the support that Superman is getting. Like everyone is holding candles, and he's having this very grand sort of uh, goodbye from everyone. So that's how
Yes.
Batman v Superman ended. So that was, I think they just had to rehash a few shots from that and maybe show a few newspaper clippings or something like that. That was more than enough. You didn't need a scene like this, honestly.
Yes, like that was pretty irrelevant to me as well because out of all the
Yeah,
things you could have gone with, that was clearly not
yeah,
the first choice I would have wanted to see.
true. I mean, so what we're going to do here is we will discuss the scene and then we'll say that why did Joss Whedon actually do this? Like we're going to try to understand his intention here with this scene. So with the mustache scene, I think we have understood why he was trying to do this. The opening kind of scene. So I guess we'll move on because there are like 10 points that we need to get to.
Oh my god, 10 points.
Yeah, no, but we will get through it pretty quickly. Like some of the points are like pretty small. So the opening Batman scene, that scene
Hmm.
is it's okay. Like that scene is also a Joss Whedon insertion. It's not there in the original Zack Snyder cut. Like oh, I just want to point out that the opening mustache scene, the Superman scene, in the original like Snyder's cut,
Hmm.
the battle we see with all the old gods
Yes, and Dark Side.
where yeah, where it was supposed to be dark side and you have this
Yes.
great battle, and in the theatrical version we had a Diana Prince voiceover where she's explaining to Bruce like what happened
Yes,
before, but
yes, yes.
actually that was supposed to be the opening scene of the movie. So what
Yeah.
Zack Snyder intended to do was he was trying to do like a Krypton thing in Man of Steel. Like you had the entire
Hmm.
Krypton scene in Man of Steel where the planet is blowing up and stuff like that. He was trying to do a similar sort of opening action scene in Justice League. And man, to replace that scene and to put this scene, like the guts on Joss Whedon, like
And
because
I
that scene was
think,
amazing.
yeah, I think that's what makes Justice League the like possibly the most hated movie ever because of what it could have been. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
could have been much more, especially with the details
yeah,
coming out day after day and week after week.
yeah,
All the details from the Snyder Cut that it was supposed to show Darkseid, it was supposed to show
yeah,
Martian Manhunter, it was supposed to show Green
yeah, yeah.
Lantern, and all that. Like
And
they,
even you see many tidbits from the action scenes as well. Like you
yeah,
see, like this was also supposed to be that, this was also, and you're like, why was this cut?
yeah, like there was possibly no explanation for that one. I don't know what Joss Whedon was
I mean, I
thinking of
think it
it.
was the mandated runtime because
That,
the Warner Brothers producers mandated the movie to be just 2 hours long, so that they could get extra showings in theaters.
yeah, like man, I'm seriously so disappointed in Warner Brothers.
The
Like,
dude, the producer, like even I don't blame Joss Whedon here because he was just
yeah, you can't,
doing
yes.
what his, he was just trying to do his own thing. And look, I think Joss Whedon also is a pretty decent filmmaker. He's probably not a very good person because I've heard some things about like him and his wife and
Mm,
stuff like that. Like, like I think he was also a figure. He was also accused of some
mm.
harassments and stuff like that. So I don't think he's a good person at all. But as a filmmaker, I think he's a pretty decent filmmaker. He brought the Avengers on screen for the first time. So I think if he was supposed to do this from scratch, he would have done a pretty decent job. And at the same time, I think Zack Snyder is also a pretty decent filmmaker. I don't think he's the greatest filmmaker like some people think he is, but he's a
No,
very
no.
visionary filmmaker. Like his action scenes are badass. Like
Yeah,
that's a strong suit.
yeah,
Like when you
exactly.
see this epic action scene, and what Joss Whedon did is he took those stuff and he manipulated with those stuff. Like I would never understand that.
Like, the same thing I want to complain about is the best thing about Batman vs Superman was the worst thing about Justice League, and that is Batman. Like, in
Yeah,
Batman
yeah.
vs
No,
Superman,
we're
we
getting to
was
that. We're getting to that. We're
yeah,
getting to
like,
that.
acha,
No
we are
worries.
getting to
We'll
okay,
we
okay,
will
okay,
get yeah, we're getting to that.
okay, okay.
Okay, so
Well,
the opening bat yeah, yeah, no, it's going to
and
take
there
some
is
time,
this
but we will get there.
yeah, there, there is this one continuity error in the Justice League Whedon cut of Justice League that in first frame Batman is like fighting the
Yeah, he has
villain.
no beard.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he
yes,
has no
yes, yes,
beard.
yes.
And
And in the
then
very next
after
scene, like,
because what
the,
actually was intended was that they will start with the entire that whole battle sequence,
uh,
and then it'll cut to maybe the title of the movie, I'm guessing, and then it was supposed to start with Bruce Wayne going and recruiting Aquaman. Like Bruce was supposed to have all those hair. Like just think about it. He was like going on a journey. If you look at those shots of the
yeah, yeah,
Aquaman
for
thing,
sure.
where he's
Like
going to recruit Aquaman,
I still
he
remember
was
the
like going
first
on a
Comic Con
journey.
trailer. I still remember the
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
Comic Con trailer,
That
which
was
is
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like in that
Yeah,
we
we
were.
will get to that, but
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we will get no. Go on, go on. You complete your point, then we will go back.
Like I still remember the first Comic Con trailer. Like in that we were shown the very first frame that Bruce is going like somewhere in the Atlantic or some snowy region, and he talks to certain person
Yeah,
which we don't know at that point. Like he was going to be just like Aquaman, and then in the end we were shown that here you can talk to fish. Then we realized, oh God, there
yeah, yeah,
he is Aquaman. Okay.
yeah. I just had to drink some water. I'm very thirsty today. I don't know why, but yeah, I definitely, and we'll definitely like come to that scene in just a moment. I just want to talk a little bit about the opening Batman scene where he attacks a parademon. The scene is fine. Okay, it does like, but the problem I have with the scene is like there's a much better Batman parody been seen in the original Snyder Cut because there was a stunt reel that was released which featured a much better version. It's not Batfleck. It's a very like it was shot like it was like a practice session between the stuntmen, but it looks a lot better than the actual thing which we saw in the Whedon cut. But I'm like even that is fine to me. Okay, the problem I have is that Batman grabs on the parademon and they fly off. Okay? But they come and circle back to the same building. Like it's like they didn't have the budget for any other building, so they were like, it's like a CW show or something. You were like, we'll just come back to this place, and we will just. And then there's a robber over there who suddenly gets very insightful, and he's like, "Oh, the aliens are coming here because Superman is gone. I figured this all out." What's
He's
going to
like trying
happen to
to
us now? Like he's literally giving a monologue to Batman.
and that
And
was
Batman
hilarious.
just leaves him. He just leaves him. Like that guy literally stole some stuff. Like he was, if you see the scene starting, he stole some stuff from a house, and then Batman sort of catches him. And Batman doesn't do anything. He doesn't like put some cuffs on him or something. He just leaves the villain. Not the villain. He just leaves the robber behind. And the robber is just giving like insightful monologues that oh, they're coming because he's left. What's going to happen to us now? And then it cuts to Justice League. Like,
Like
oh, it's like forceful exposition. Like they're just trying to fit in so much like information, and because of that, they're bringing in like the common robber. Like even the robber has an important role now to play. Like it's just very baffling. But then we go into the opening song of the movie,
I
which
think that
I thought
uh, uh,
that's a
yeah,
decent thing. Yeah,
yeah,
go on,
I'm
go on.
gonna say it right away that I think that was the best part of the whole movie. The everybody knows that
The
decision
opening
of
segment.
Whedon was
Yeah,
the only thing
true,
which he
true.
made good.
Yeah, which Whedon added, which was good.
Yeah,
That even I sort of agree, but the like I thought that scene was done pretty well. Like you
and
you could feel like Superman had gone and had left.
yeah, And like at first it seems like it was a Zack Snyder decision because of what he did with Batman vs Superman,
Watchmen.
A Beautiful Lie, and Watchmen. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah. True,
feels
true.
so like him, but then
Yeah,
I came to know
Snyder-esque.
that Whedon did it. I was like, okay, at least he
Yeah.
did something good.
I mean, as I said before, also, Whedon is a pretty decent filmmaker. So it's not surprising that some of his ideas actually worked.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
then we come to Wonder Woman's opening scene, which I thought was fine. Apparently, changes were made here as well. Like, we don't
yes,
know exactly what changes, but some changes were made here as well with the scene. I think we don't really
yeah,
need to talk much about it, like,
yeah. I mean,
unless you have something you want to add.
I read it somewhere that while trying to defuse the first bomb, the second bomb got exploded, and she regrets it, and something like that in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, because if you remember in the behind the scenes, like Zack Snyder released a behind the scenes video while the movie was in production.
Yes,
There's this very small shot of a cars, like GCPD cars, all parked outside, and there's like this explosion of a building going off, and that
yes,
looks
yes,
very reminiscent of the same museum, like the same building that Diana was in. So I think something
yes.
like that. I think maybe they were trying to show that she alone can't do this. I think
True.
that was probably what they were trying to do,
Right, right.
maybe. But I mean, like that scene was okay. I had fun watching it in the theater as well. So I thought it was that scene was I
Yeah,
think fine. Now we get
that
to yeah, go on, go on.
that's the thing about Justice. Like when I first watched it with like houseful theater, I didn't find it to be that bad. It's like
Yeah,
after when I done watching the movie and came home and started thinking about it, then I started
yeah.
realizing maybe it's not that good. Then all the Snyder, like so-called Snyder cut makes were
The
leaks were coming out. Then
yeah.
I realized, oh my god, this was a pretty
See,
messed up
I
movie.
also went through something very similar, and you can ask some of my like schoolmates. I like when I watched the movie, I was actually pretty excited, and I told them that it's really good. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, it's not that good. Because then I started realizing many of the stuff in the trailer didn't wasn't actually there in the movie,
Yes,
and
yes,
it became more and more apparent because the one thing that people have to understand about DC fans is that we've watched the trailers multiple times.
yes, yes, exactly.
We watch it to the point where we know the music, we know the dialogues. So like when they make changes, it's very apparent to people like us.
Yes, like especially after all the Comic Con footage, the trailer one and trailer two, the come together, like the whole song in the trailer, I was pretty
Yeah, yeah.
hyped for the movie. Like I was waiting for, oh
Yeah,
my
all
god,
the
when will
trailers are
this
pretty
movie come?
good.
Yeah, yeah. And I think at that
Like
point of
WB is
time,
known for cutting good trailers, usually.
that's
Yeah,
a good thing of him.
yeah, yeah. So we get to Batman meeting Aquaman. Now that scene, as you said, that it was completely reshot in many places. You can clearly see the green screen
Yeah,
behind Aquaman.
exactly.
You can see that Ben Affleck goes from looking very sexy to looking chubby.
But there's
And
one more thing good about that scene is the whole badass. I think it was irrelevant, but it was so cool to watch. Like Jason Momoa walking out of that bar with a drink in his hand and that
no, no,
background
no, that
score.
scene is still coming. That scene is still coming.
Okay, okay, it's coming. Oh my god.
That scene is still, yeah, yeah, yeah. That scene is still coming. But I would say there was a lot of forceful exposition in this scene, like where there was a mural with the drawings and stuff. Where Bruce is like, all of that was reshot. Where he was like, tell me about those three boxes and I'll make it 25. Like, like a complete like you could clearly say like, oh yeah, this is a reshoot. And I rewatched this film yesterday. So I've watched this film now 2 or 3 times I think. So now it's very apparent to me when the reshot scene comes. Like I'm like that looks so fake. Like because at one point you have this beautiful Iceland location, and in the next frame you have this really like horrendous CGI behind Jason Momoa. And I'm like, dude, that is not, dude, no, stop.
Like all the
Okay,
bad CGs were clearly evident that oh my god, they did
true,
this
true.
in the
I mean,
reshoot.
I again we come back to our segment of what Joss Whedon was trying to do. Like I understand he was trying to fit a lot of information into the 2 hour time frame, So he probably thought, I will do all of these plot elements in this scene so that we have the mother box being established. We have Bruce knew about these mother boxes beforehand. So I understand what's happening, but still it feels very forceful because it doesn't feel organic at all.
Yes, especially for the
Yeah,
character which we haven't seen before, you can't just put him and like expect us to be normal. Like
true, true,
that is a pretty
and
significant
I
character
feel
for
like
the movie.
yeah. And I feel like Zach's original vision, like of introducing Aquaman, was pretty good. Like if you notice, what Zach was trying to do with Justice League was he was just trying to introduce these characters and give you a
Yes.
brief taste of these characters, so that you would get excited for these characters when the solo movie showed up.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Joss tried to do a little bit more with these characters, which I don't think worked.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So then we come to Cyborg's opening scene with his father. Again, this was a Joss Whedon insertion. My God, like right now when you go through it, you're like everything is Joss Whedon, man.
Every like
Because
he actually took out every hero and put them into a bad scene with bad CG and all.
yeah, like this scene between Cyborg and his dad is it's not a bad scene by any stretch of the imagination. Like because if you look at it, Ray Fisher's acting is pretty good. Like even the scenes between him and his father are pretty decent. But again, like this scene, I don't mind as much. But
But like,
it's a little bit exposition force and
see,
it's a little bit of too much information given to the audience.
yeah, but I don't know the backstory of it, so I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
connect to
You
it
don't
that well.
connect with this character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and especially when I came to know that there was this whole rugby scene which was cut out. Then he got
True,
in
true, true.
while he was driving his the car with his mother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then he like they both come to an argument and they met with an
True, true.
accident. And because like they
Yeah,
were talking about their father, like why he didn't show up in the match to support him
yeah.
and all that. That
True,
that
true.
would have made more sense and led to a character development
Yeah,
between
yeah.
him and
But
his father.
as I said, I understand what Jocelyn was trying to do here because there was a 2 hour mandate which
Yeah.
he had to deliver on. So I
Yes.
understand him trying to, being like, I can't like although like based on what he cut before, I won't be surprised if if he just put the scene even if the 2 hour mandate was not there. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that the
Yes.
2 hour mandate was there, so he was kind of forced to do this. But I think at the end of the day, the scene is not very bad because even while rewatching it, the performances in the scene are actually pretty good, and even
Yes.
the dialogues are pretty good. Like between like Ray Fisher and the I forgot the
His
actor who
father.
plays his father. I'm so sorry. I know he's a pretty good actor. I just forgot his name. So then going ahead, we have the Themyscira sequence, which I think is mostly Zack Snyder, like because the action scenes are actually good in this.
Yeah, that's
We
Snyder's.
have Steppenwolf's introduction, which is a little weird, but still it's fine. Uh,
And especially the design
uh,
of Steppenwolf too. Like in the Batman vs
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Superman, it was shown like very different than what it was here.
True, true, true. It was meant to be a lot more scarier, but it's. I guess they were trying to make it a bit more kid friendly and a bit more like Uh, I see. I personally I don't like CGI villains that much. I think
Hmm.
Thanos is an exception for me. And
For
but at the same time, I have like even Doomsday and Batman v Superman. It was like one of the least liked elements for me. Like not saying that the design was bad or anything, but I feel like a CGI sort of monster. It's like you can't connect that much with a CGI character that much.
it
But
and
like I think with Thanos, they clearly show that you can connect with a character like that. But still, I'm always a little apprehensive when a CGI sort of villain shows up.
yeah, like Doomsday was. I think Doomsday was forcefully put in that sequence. Like there was no need.
Yeah,
Maybe there was need for it. I
yeah.
don't know. Like it doesn't fit there.
See,
Doomsday's like
that's one problem with Zack Snyder. Like he tries to put in too many elements, I think.
yeah, like when I was watching Batman vs Superman, I have only watched the Ultimate Edition. I don't know much about the theatrical cut, so I can only say for the Ultimate
Yeah,
Edition, which I pretty much liked
yeah.
a lot. So when I
It,
was
it
like,
was it was a much better movie.
yeah, like when I saw Doomsday appear in the screen, I was like, whoa, they just made Doomsday appear
Yeah,
in middle of nowhere without even
yeah.
further like anything. I was
No,
like,
I
oh my god.
Yeah. True, true. I mean, I totally agree with you, but at the same time, I understand what the arc that Snyder was
Yeah,
trying to say was he he wanted to kill Superman off,
yes,
and he wanted to use that sacrifice
yes,
as a way of the world supporting Superman. And that
yes.
idea is not bad. It's not what the
The idea
comics
is not,
did.
yes, the
It's
idea is not
definitely
bad.
something,
It's
yeah.
just the
But
execution, man. They could have
yeah,
done better, I
true.
guess.
Yeah. As I said before, like I really feel like Batman v Superman should have been two movies. Like I think we talked about this back in the hostel, like a long time back. Like it should have been like Batman was the villain of the first movie, and Doomsday should have been the villain of the not Doomsday, but Lex Luthor should have been like the villain of the second movie, and but we'll talk about BBS maybe when the Snyder Cut comes out, and if we
Yeah.
still have this podcast then.
Oh, well, we will. I
which is
am actually
which is
very.
highly unlikely, I think. But hopefully, we'll still like every week we'll find some time to just nerd out, which is
Yeah.
what this podcast is necessarily. So the Themyscira sequence is pretty good because the action sequence is actually, I think, the action sequence of the Themyscira sequence is the strongest, like when compared to the entire movie. Like the chase scene with the hose, like with them trying to get the mother box away from Steppenwolf. I thought those scenes were pretty good.
Yes, it was like, huh,
Yeah.
it was a good action set piece there.
It was a bit exciting, but the music was very bland because they, replaced the
Removed,
music director,
yeah,
Junkie XL,
Junkie XL,
from
right?
the movie, and they put in Danny Elfman, which Danny Elfman was a pretty good music director, I would admit that, but he was not a fit for this movie, and he also was not given enough time. Which again, see, this is one thing which again confuses me. Like you're given 3 months, 3 or 4 months to finish the movie, and you have all of these things done. Like you're like I'm Joss Whedon, and I'm looking at the movie, and I'm like, okay, Snyder has done this, this, this. The music is we have a music composer already. He's already been scoring the movie. Why change that? Like, dude, like, I can understand working on the character moments. I can understand on working on the humor of the film. I can understand lightening up the movie, but I don't understand these choices. Like trying to change the music of the movie in the last minute, trying to force a Danny Elfman score in there. These are changes which I can never get behind.
Yeah, like, I think the reason behind all his decision could be this. Like, he must have realized that Warner Brothers is not giving, like, shit about Justice League right now. So I think
True,
he
true,
went all out with his decision. Like, what could be the most bizarre thing he could have done? Yeah, do
Maybe he
this.
was
Yeah,
secretly
yeah,
supporting Snyder.
yeah. Like, do this. Huh? Yeah. So, sure, I want to change the music in, like, just before the release, 3 4 months. Yeah, bring a new music director.
Very.
Replace the old one. Everything. I
It's
think he was the most. He had the best time of his life while directing the movie because he was like having fun. I think he must have.
Yeah, and his name is also not attached. Like that's what
Oh,
infuriated me even more. Like it's said directed by Zack Snyder in the opening credits, and I'm like, it should actually say directed by Zack Snyder.
I
Okay,
think this is
some
also
of
one of
it,
the reason why
some of
Joss
it.
Whedon made Justice League.
Maybe it should have said some of it directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, some of it, like the bad portion you see is by Joss Whedon, and the somewhat good portion you see is like,
Oh my God. Okay, then let's move ahead. So then we have the Flash. We have the Batman recruiting Flash sequence. Again, this scene is mostly Snyder till the point where Ezra Miller catches the Batarang, and then he starts going on this weird tangent about brunch. That is the weirdest sequence, and you can clearly see when they go from the original shot to a green screen shot because Ezra Miller's hair is totally
yeah,
different in both the shots. And
yeah,
oh my God, even the only reason for this scene is to set up the brunch joke, which comes up in the mid-credit scene. Like he really put the scene into the movie just to set up a mid-credit scene. Like you can easily do something in the middle of the battle, like the final battle. Just have some small dialogue about like just add something about brunch. I don't care, but putting a scene like that here, it made no sense. Like I have no idea what they were trying to do here. And if you look at Ben Affleck's expression in this scene, even he had the same confused expression that I had when I was watching it.
he was
Like he's
also
literally like, I don't
disappointed by that.
understand. Like I don't understand. Wait, what?
Like, I still remember the first time when that scene was shown in the trailer, right? The whole
Yeah,
Batman and Flash introduction scene. So I
yeah,
think that was a pretty cool scene because See,
It was.
Batman would have told that he is Batman, but he didn't. He is the
Yeah.
cool guy, right? So he
Yeah,
threw a
yeah,
batarang, and he knew Flash would
yeah. Yeah.
like see like, oh my
Catch
god,
it.
this is batarang,
Yeah.
so he must be
Dude, Ezra
Batman.
Miller's expression in that scene.
Yeah,
Ezra Miller's
like
expression of looking
that
at the
was such a
Batman is
cool
really good.
scene. But when I was shown that in the movie, I was like, whoa, why is that awkwardness in the scene right now? It was supposed to be
It's
cool
very
and
like I think they were trying to like build something into the character of, as like Barry Allen, but look, it was not needed. Like Barry Allen for me is never like that. Like I have read a little bit of comics. I've seen the animated, like not the in the animated series was in the animated series it was Wally West, but I watched some of the animated like adaptations. I've read a little bit of the comic books featuring Barry Allen. He's never this weird character like that for me. He is a bit lighthearted, I think, but he's a bit more of a calm figure.
like I think what Joss Whedon was trying to do is like he was trying to replicate what MCU did between Iron Man and Spider Man. I think.
True, true, true. But even Spider-Man, he like in the first scene, he was not weird. Like,
Yeah, he was
like he
not
was
like
just talking about
uh
his normal motivation, and that scene was really good in Civil War. Like, I think he says something like, when you have all these abilities, you have to
with
do what I'm supposed to. Like, you have this responsibility to do what I'm supposed to do. Like, that scene was actually done pretty well.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving on, we go to the scene where Now, this is the scene which you talked about earlier, where Aquaman the guy like walks out of the bar and he like drinks the whiskey and you have that White Stripes music playing. And oh man, it's
Yeah.
such a badass moment. That's clearly a Snyder moment.
Like it was so
It's so
irrelevant.
well
Like
done.
it had nothing to do with the story or the screenplay,
I'm
but it
so
was such
glad
a
Joss Whedon kept
yeah.
the scene.
Yes, exactly. Like that was so cool to watch. Just like Jason Momoa walking with the rock
Yeah,
music. It was like the perfect duo, right?
yeah.
Jason Momoa
Yeah,
with the
and
rock
I
music.
think that scene sold people over the Aquaman movie.
Yes.
Yeah, people were like, this is what I want to watch. But even here, even here, there is a reshot element. Just before Aquaman goes underwater, he stands like just before going, he stands, and you have the
I
tidal
know.
wave sort
Yeah,
of hitting him.
yeah.
And
Yes,
in the
yes, yes.
first teaser, you saw a very clear shot of that. But in the Justice
Yes.
League version, you saw a very blurry version of that in the side. And I don't understand why.
As I said,
I
man, Joss Whedon was having the best time of his life. He was given this big, huge project, and he was only there to ruin it. Like, have fun with it. So he was having fun with the whole movie, the whole
like this
crew,
was
the
not
whole
even
money.
time. Like this was not even a time mandate. This was nothing. It was not even something that would make it lighthearted. Like it was nothing. You could just clearly just show that scene. But no, he
Like,
had to show it in a very weird way with a signboard saying not no diving or something like that. I don't even remember.
I think Joss Whedon was thinking like, if there is anything good in this movie which is made or directed by Zack
Yeah.
Snyder, I will ruin it. Oh, the
I
people will
will
say
like
how,
this scene is
yeah,
very good, but I
yeah,
will
I will.
insert this. Now
I
it's
have,
now I made it
yeah,
fine.
now it's perfect, right? But I'm imagining his voice in the like evil Disney villain, like, oh, now I will show you guys what I can do.
Then we have the Atlantis scene, which is I think pretty decent, pretty cool, and it's a nice sort of introduction to the underwater world.
I was so disappointed by that. Like we were shown the Atlantis for the first time, and that was now how I imagined Atlantis to be.
Yeah, apparently
It
it
was,
was like it wasn't actually Atlantis; it was like a outstation of Atlantis.
but
That's why it was
still,
like a little bit.
yeah, like it was
I
so dark.
Yeah, no, but I personally am okay with the scene because I think that look, the underwater effects clearly require a lot of budget, and I can understand like with Justice League, it was like they were testing the waters. Oh, testing!
Yes,
I was not trying to make a
test,
pun there, but they were literally like
literally
trying.
testing the water.
They're trying this out, so I'm okay with this scene being the way it is. But even here, there are reshoots because he has played with many of the scenes here and there. Volko, however you pronounce it, the character which we was. which appeared in Aquaman, was also supposed to play
Oh.
a role here.
Hmm.
Do you remember which character that was?
William Dafoe, right? Volko. Volko.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe. Yeah,
Huh.
he was also supposed to play a character here, but he pretty much cut through many of the stuff, and he put a lot of exposition. The scene between him and Mera, between Aquaman and Mera, there's a lot of exposition. Like she literally like says, Your mother wouldn't have done this, and you have to now. It's your task." And I'm literally like, no one gives a shit. Like, you literally try to cram an entire story in like 2 3 minutes.
I like I know.
But again, like here I can understand like he has this time mandate and he has to,
Hmm.
do all of this and but still it's not good.
The whole movie is like a series of bad decisions. Like
It's like a
bad.
CW pilot, but it's not even that good. Like even a CW show with limited budget. Like if you look at the pilot
Uh,
episodes of The Flash and Arrow, which I really like those first seasons of Flash, and I also am a fan of Arrow, like the entire sequence, the entire series. So, but it's like it's not even reached that level in terms of storytelling. Okay, now we go to the Russian family sequence.
oh no.
See, when the scene started, I was like, oh, I thought it was a cool scene because they first showed that the parademons were like coming to this place. I didn't think this Russian family would keep coming. I didn't know this was a recurring feature throughout the movie. I thought it was just a scene to like introduce the parademons, like a clever way of introducing the parademons because you see it from their point of view, from the point of view of the
Yes.
people, and I thought that was kind of cool. But no, they kept bringing them back and back. And I think this was mainly to do with the fact that there were a lot of complaints in Man of Steel and BBS that there was a lot of casualties, and we don't get the sense of what the public in this world, in this sort of fictional world, is feeling.
Hmm.
So I think the Russian family was sort of supposed to personify the feelings of the entire world of DC, but it did not work at all.
Like, I think what Joss Whedon was trying to do, like, he was trying to imitate what he did with the twins in Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, like, he was thinking of something like how like, the actions of superheroes have different implication of normal people.
Yeah. True, true, true. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that because there's even a dialogue when I think the husband or the wife, I don't remember who, but they say to each other that who's going to come to save us? Like, who's
Yeah.
going to come to save us? Like, we're just a normal sort of, ordinary family.
Yeah.
And that idea is good, but the execution just didn't work in this movie. Like, it felt very, like, it didn't flow with the movie, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Out of all the other
Okay.
things, this was also one of
Yeah.
them.
But at least here I understand what he was trying to do. Like it's not like some of the other changes I'm completely baffled. I'm like, what are you trying to do here? But this one I'm like, okay, I understand what he was trying to do here.
Like for the
Yeah.
last 40 minutes, we are just trying to understand what Joss Whedon was trying to do.
Yeah,
Like
that's the
this
whole
itself,
point of this exercise.
like this itself, it's so bad that we are trying to understand what that man was trying
See,
to do with
see,
the movie.
everyone is hating on Joss Whedon. So they're trying to support him by looking at this movie and being like,
Yeah,
what is he trying to do? But even
like
that is not working.
yeah, no, definitely not working at all.
Yeah, okay. So then we are actually to the fag end of this. Like, there are just a
Hmm.
few more points to cover for me. So then we come to the sequence where Cyrus is kidnapped. Cyborg's father is kidnapped. And that sequence is a Zack Snyder scene because we saw it in the first trailer. Like,
Hmm.
in the first trailer, this was revealed. So, and that scene is pretty good. It's a bit scary and it's completely fine. But then we come to the sequence where Cyborg comes on location and he sees that his father is kidnapped. And then we see the shot of the like the bat signal going up, and it's a cool way of uniting all the heroes because they're like the bat signal is the thing that brings like at least a major part of the heroes together.
Hmm.
But the problem is, there's a scene where Cyborg looks up to the bat signal. That's a reshot because in the first trailer we saw the exact same shot, but Cyborg is in his suit. Like he's not in the hoodie,
Hmm.
he's in his suit. And even the bricks of the house look better in the Snyder
Oh,
Cut. Like I don't understand how is that possible. But the breaks look better in the Snyder Cut. Like literally, like and okay. So when I was watching this scene, right? When I was rewatching it, I saw that I saw like this was something I noticed a long time back. But when I saw this again, I'm like, oh, I guess Whedon. The reason why Whedon has Cyborg in a hoodie in this scene is so that you can kind of mask, like you can give Cyborg a very good heroic entry. So that's one of the reasons why he's
Oh,
still in a hoodie. But in the next scene where the heroes all are meeting and near to the bat signal, he just shows up just like that, and they're all like, "Hey, man, nice to see you." Like, there's no heroic entry or anything like that. He just shows up, and I'm like, "What was the point of reshooting the sequence then?" Like,
just like I
I
told.
don't like I don't understand some of these changes. Like, it's very baffling to me. Like, how can the bricks look better?
Just like I told you, Manoj, like Joss Whedon was trying to take all the good things from the Snyder Cut, and I was like, "Oh God, how can I ruin this, sir?"
No,
But
but see,
we can.
I'm like, okay, like one of the briefs that Whedon got was clearly to revamp the character of Superman, okay,
Yes.
to make him more lighthearted and and because of that, there were extensive work done on his mustache and on other VFX things. You could have saved this time. You could have saved this budget instead of shooting this sequence. You could have just given. You could have taken this time and done those mustache sequences. Like it's like prioritizing. I think Joss Whedon should get an MBA from Sri Bala University. So because here we teach about time, time management. Like prioritize your things. Oh, only Balaji students will
I,
get that joke though.
yeah, like I'm telling you this one conspiracy theory which I think could be true. Like after
Yeah.
Zack Snyder left the movie, then he would have came to know that either like anyway the Warner Brothers will try to complete the movie with some other director and release it on the scheduled
True,
date.
true.
So I think
Yeah.
Zack Snyder would have called Joss Whedon like, "Hey man, you go there and ruin the movie so that afterwards they won't go to anyone else except me."
Maybe. We will talk about that Snyder Cut also in the end. Like, what's the time now? It's 1 hour, 12
Yes.
minutes. I guess we have to we are almost there at the end. Like I just have 3 or 4 points after this. So, then we have the tunnel sequence. The tunnel sequence again. There are so many cuts in the scene. Like there is a scene where Diana tells the entire team that to stay together, don't go alone. But that dialogue is not there in the movie because
Hmm.
obviously it's a good team up scene. So why would you want that in the movie? There's also the scene where Cyborg says to Batman, "I thought you weren't real," something like that, which I thought was a pretty cool scene. Like I'm real when it's useful, but that scene is also cut. And but then there's a more. But I can understand these cuts. Okay, I'm like, you have the 2 hour mandate. I understand you, Peter. Like you have to cut some stuff. Okay, but then there's this scene. Okay, parademons are shooting at Batman. Okay, and Batman
Hmm.
flies into the flying fox. Okay, and he
Hmm.
somehow makes it, and then he takes on the flying fox. And in the original trailer, his dialogue was "my turn," and that was a very Batman thing. Like it felt like a very
Yeah.
Batman quip. But
Yes.
no, we didn't have to go in and need to reshoot this scene where Batman is like, "I'm sorry, guys, I didn't bring a sword to the fight." Like, why? Why change? I'm like, out of all the things, I'm saying this again and again. Like, take that money and time and put it into the mustache. Because I didn't mind what he tried to do with Superman, but you could have done it so much better. Like, it could have looked so much better if you had given the time to the VFX artist. But anyway, like it's complete lost hope here. But then we come to the Superman battle again. This is the this in the original Snyder sequence. There was the military was also involved in this scene.
Hmm.
There are also rumors that like evil Superman was supposed to play a predominant role throughout the movie. Like apparently Steppenwolf for Darkseid sort of like takes him over and brainwashes him, and so the fight with like Superman was kind of an
Oh,
antagonist
like
for a major part of this movie.
I think like that was supposed to happen in Justice League 2 when the whole Justice League went to
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what is that planet which is called where Darkseid ruled? I think there
Apocalypse,
and
Apocalypse.
yes, Apocalypse, and
Yeah,
there
yeah,
somehow Darkseid manages to capture Superman. Then he tries to like what is that? Yeah, that equation, like afterlife equation. I
yeah,
think like
yeah,
where he brainwashes him.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was supposed to be.
even in that could be like it could be an injustice storyline as well. Like
Hmm.
Zack Snyder, even I don't know if you know this, but he had revealed his plans where there's apparently a scene which he planned. He didn't. I
Hmm.
don't think he has shot it for this movie, but he planned this for a future movie where by Darkseid he boom tubes into the Batcave, and Lois Lane
Hmm.
is in the Batcave for protection. From
Yeah.
like and Darkseid just kills Lois Lane, and that's what snaps Superman into this villainous mode.
Yes.
So I mean, dude, when I remember the fan reaction when Jackson sort of revealed this, people all went berserk. But I mean,
I think
we
it
still
was.
don't know if we'll get those scenes.
I like.
I mean,
Let's
yeah,
hope.
go on, go on. Yeah, let's hope. Like,
Uh,
and then okay, I want to talk about the climatic battle where Joss Whedon. So I'm in Joss Whedon's shoe right now, okay, and I'm like looking at the final sequence, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh, it's too dark, I guess. So maybe I should lighten this up and make the entire sequence red and orange. Oh my God. And it looks so bad because I feel like Zack Snyder intended all of this to look, all of this with a much darker color palette. But because Joss Whedon lightened things up, the CGI is very noticeable. Like you can clearly see the flaws in most of the CGI work done here. I mean, if you look at Cyborg, right? There are scenes where, Cyborg is on the side and he looks so weird. Like really weird. Like this I've noticed it while rewatching it. I'm like, my God, he's moving in such a weird way.
like
Oh my
the
God.
whole
Like
climactic sequence when I was watching, like I was imagining the like where Phoebe says, my eyes." Like that was the exact same reaction of me.
it was very appalling, my God. Like
Uh,
seriously, like my God. And I just want to conclude this review of Justice League by saying that some of the Superman stuff in there was actually good. I
yeah.
kind of like the banter between Superman and the Flash. And those were
Yes.
all like Joss Whedon inserts. Some of the character moments were pretty decent. Like there's a scene between Batman and Flash where Batman, like this is in the tunnel sequence where Batman tells Flash to just save one.
Save one.
Like he
Yes.
tells, yeah, just save one, and then you will know what to do next. And that scene also was pretty good. But at the same time, his attempts at humor where Flash falls on top of Wonder Woman, but it's the same joke is repeated over and over from Age of Ultron. That joke clearly has to go, man. Like if I see that again in a Joss Whedon movie, I'm gonna get very angry. Like, dude, you are a pretty decent filmmaker, but stop with that joke. It's not funny.
It's
So
like
we'll
one
just
of those
conclude by
Easter
Justice.
eggs.
Yeah, okay, go on. Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
think
like an
it,
Easter egg for him.
yeah.
Like when you see that, you're like, oh, this is a Joss Whedon movie.
And not a very good Easter egg, to be honest. Like the
Yeah,
bad
I
one.
mean, I feel like he's trying to reflect his personality with that scene. He's like, this is what I am.
This is what.
So, we talked in length about Justice League. We tried to sympathize with Joss Whedon. It didn't work, unfortunately. So
Uh,
now we're going to talk a little bit about the Snyder Cut and we're going to wrap this up. So the Snyder Cut is scheduled to release next year in HBO Max. This news was not much of a surprise. Fans have been campaigning for this cut for close to 3 years now. I'm making a small video about like 5 times fan uproar got the studio to cave, and I'll be talking about the Snyder Cut in that a little bit with more detail. So, I mean, we're just going to give a basic rundown of like what we think about the Snyder Cut. Jay, your thoughts?
for me, I don't. To be honest, I don't really care about the Snyder Cut because I've already know what he was trying to do. Like the whole 5 part. Like
Mm.
DCU, he was trying to make like with Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Justice League 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3. I've read what he was trying to do, from like blowing up the apocalypse to like the afterlife
Yeah.
equation. Then, spoiler
True.
alert,
True.
Batman getting killed in the very end by Darkseid, and it's like the same thing
Yeah.
as like Endgame, Tony sacrificing
Yeah.
himself for the greater good. So I know all of it. So
True.
it's like
True.
I'm happy for all those fans who are rooting for the movie for all those years, and finally they will be satisfied. I think I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. True. I mean, they adapted a lot of this movie in Justice League. Sorry, in this animated movie called Justice League Dark Apocalypse. Not a lot of the
Yes.
movie, but a fair bit of. You can see similarities to the Snyder plot here. So
Yeah.
I totally get what they were trying to do. So uh, I am personally very excited because even though I know what the story is, I think Snyder is such a visual director that I really want to see all of it. Like I want to see how that first like entire battle is going to play out. I want to see how the
Yeah.
climatic battle plays out. You know, I'm very excited because I know that he does big and huge stuff. Like, and I know he's not the best storyteller, I guess, but his visual style for me is impeccable. Like, there's a reason why Christopher Nolan picked Zack Snyder to do Man of Steel because even Christopher Nolan understood that Zack Snyder is a director who understands visual style in a way which no one else, I think, understands in the Hollywood film
True.
industry. So I am really looking forward to it, and just the circumstances in which they removed him from the project or he left the project or whatever. Like there was no transparency from WB. Like they try to hide all of this fact, and I'm just happy that Zack Snyder gets to fulfill his vision and gets even if it's just for like the Snyder Cut and even if we don't get any future installments, I'm just happy that we're getting this. And also, if you look at the cast of the movie, it's pretty happy. Like there's a video where Ray Fisher's like crying because of
Yes,
like
I saw
seeing
that.
like the fact like he gets emotional because of what actually happened and then we Henry Cavill had joined Zack Snyder in his watch party and they had actually revealed it pretty much together, so that was really nice because a lot of like there's a toxic side to the release of Snyder Cut fan movement as well, where many fans were
Yeah.
attacking people who were not believing the Snyder Cut. They were bullying people who said that Zack Snyder was not that good for filmmaker because look guys, everyone has their own opinion, so you don't have to like make someone else believe on your opinion. So
Yes.
like I
Yes.
hope
Right.
that like I feel like fan movements are going to keep on happening, but I hope that people learn from the positives of the Snyder Cut and try to like do it in a more positive way. Like the Snyder Cut had like raised a lot of money and sort of awareness for suicide prevention, which I thought was a very noble it was a very noble intention behind them. And I want more of that from fan movements rather than them attacking the actors and stuff like because many people had attacked Henry Cavill as well because he wasn't supporting the Snyder
Supporting
Cut
this.
movement, and I feel like he was contractually not in a position to support it because if you look at it, Henry Cavill was in the weakest position compared to the other cast members because his solo movie was not going anywhere. Whereas if you look at Aquaman, Jason Momoa, like his movie had just crossed 1 billion, and the same for Gal
Yes.
Gadot. Like his her movie also was positively received by fans, and Aquaman and Wonder Woman were like the two strong points in the DCU. So there was no way they were going to fire them. And if you look at Ray
Yes.
Fisher, who was also an advocate for this, there was absolutely no plans for him. Like so, he was also free to express his views on what he thought should happen. So, I can understand like some of the cast members talking in support openly, but like Henry Cavill was clearly in support of Zack Snyder, even though he was not there publicly to show it. And I'm glad that Zack Snyder brought him to announce to announce the movie because Henry Cavill was where it all started. He's kind of like the Robert Downey Jr. of this
Yes.
universe. Like even though it's not much of a universe now, so I'm just glad that they're going to get this entire thing. Like even if it's not going to be the entire like 3 or 4 movie thing, which we were supposed to get initially. I know. So most probably this is going to be a mini series. Your thoughts on that? I know you told me
Six ep-
your thoughts yesterday, but if you
yeah.
just want to repeat those thoughts for the listeners, because I thought that was a pretty interesting ideas you had.
Yeah, like it is supposed to be a like 6 episode mini series of 4 hours. I don't know how they will make it out of it, but I think like
Yeah.
The only thing which I'm very disappointed with, or like would like to disagree, is like Justice League was supposed to be a movie, like a whole movie,
Yeah,
a cinematic marvel. But now they are
true.
like trying to break it into six pieces with cliffhangers in each ending of every episode. I don't think it will
Yeah,
like find the viewers won't find it natural, authentic, because like we know that it was supposed to be a movie and now they are like breaking that into six pieces. The
yeah.
magic of that thing will lose in between. I think maybe
Yeah.
it won't, but I
I
think
mean,
it will.
I feel like it will still work because I don't know. I feel like, as I said, I'm someone who believes that Zack Snyder is a filmmaker who thrives when he has more time with his stories. Like if you look at Watchmen or if you look at the Ultimate Edition of PBS, I think it's very clear that he likes having time. And one of the main sort of obstructions or main criticisms behind before even Justice League came was that we didn't get enough time with these characters. But I think a mini series would give enough time for these characters. And now there are rumors saying that there's not going to be any reshoots. But at the same time, I've also seen reports saying that Ray Fisher and the actor playing Darkseid has confirmed that Zack Snyder has approached them to do reshoots. So I'm a little confused, and I think we will get to know more about this as the year progresses because I think all of us also have to remember that with the coronavirus pandemic going on, there is no clear clarity on when shooting can happen and when filming is safe to happen. So I think just sit tight, but I'm pretty excited for the Snyder Cut as a whole, in
Yeah,
whichever
like
form we get it.
the additional budget which is provided by Warner Brothers for completing the Snyder Cut is around $20 million, and I don't think
Yeah,
there will
20 to
be
30 million is what they say.
yeah, yeah, like I don't think there will be reshoots because like most of the movies has already been shot. It's just like some of the tits and bits which they have to like fit in and weave it all together, and
But
that's the thing.
Ray Fisher, I
Uh,
don't know how authentic this is, but I read this somewhere very clearly. If I can find the source, I'll probably link it in the description. But there was this thing where because this Snyder Cut thing was happening, the discussions were happening throughout because he had even
yes.
screened the movie to WB executives and Jim Lee, I think, the comic book writer Jim Lee. So uh, apparently, Ray Fisher was approached by Snyder a long time back, saying that, I want you back. So I think maybe some of the cast members would be coming back, I think, just to do pickups here and there, just to maybe complete some sequences here and
Yeah.
there. And I can understand maybe Ray Fisher, maybe because there will be some CGI work maybe over him, considering how CGI heavy his character is. So, I'm
Yes.
not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Na, like even if there is any reshoots, na, it will be very minor, like some solo
Yeah, yeah.
character
True,
shots or
true.
something like that, which were
True, true.
needed
I mean,
for the
I think
like
it's very unlikely that someone like Ben Affleck
huh
will come.
like it's not like they are going to make a completely different Justice
True,
League with like keeping in mind
true.
the mini series. It's like the movie is made and they will somehow break it into six pieces. Now that's where
Yeah.
my problem is. Like
You know what
you
would be
know
crazy though?
what.
Like, just let's just say that Snyder Cut like hits Game of Thrones numbers in HBO Max,
Hmm.
which there's a very good chance it might. And HBO just like commissions a season two. It's like
uh,
they're like, let's just do this in a mini series format. Like, and actually, it'll be crazy. Like, if we get that kind of budget, but I hope they don't do that. But like, God knows. Like, I feel like now anything is possible.
like if they are going to make a mini series out of it again, why not go for the whole movie, like full blown
Yeah,
on
that's also
movie?
true.
That
Yeah.
would be better.
No, but,
Like
see, what complicates thing is Robert Pattinson's Batman, because I feel like every other character is kind of, it's like if you look at Ezra Miller's Flash, in spite of his recent antics where he choked a woman, I think, he's still playing the Flash, I think, and he even I don't know if you know this, Ezra Miller's Flash had appeared in the CW crossover event with the TV show Flash.
okay, I didn't know it.
Oh, you didn't know this. Okay, so in the TV show, they were doing this Crisis of Infinite Earths storyline,
Okay.
and there's this moment where so in that storyline, like multiple Earths were like actually all the Earths were being wiped out of existence, and there's a
Okay.
scene where the TV show Barry Allen, he's like he has to do something with the Speed Force, and he runs into Ezra Miller's Flash,
Hmm.
and dude, when that scene came, people went absolutely nuts. And I feel like there are some rumors saying that they knew that the Snyder Cut was coming, and there's
Hmm.
some relation to that, but I don't know what it is. But man, dude, like, man, it's so complicated. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about this, but but still, it's pretty exciting. I think it'll be fun. You can check that scene out if you want, Jay. Like, just like search in like YouTube, like Ezra
I
Miller TV show Flash,
I
something
think
like
I've
that.
seen that it's like a 10-12 second video. I think I've seen that like both running.
Yeah, it's like I think a 1 minute scene. I think.
Okay.
It's basically they actually talk to each other. They compliment each
Oh.
of their suits. It's pretty funny. Like they both look at their suits, and Ezra Miller looks at the TV show Flash, and he's like, "Wow, man, that looks very comfy."
I just
So
see. I
it's
just saw.
actually it's a
I was
funny
seeing
scene, and
the.
it was one of the standout moments in the crossover of the TV show. So that's pretty good. So final thoughts. Both of us are pretty excited for the Snyder Cut, and we're looking forward to it in whichever form. But Jay is looking forward to it more as a movie. I'm looking forward to it more as a mini series. So we have two opinions here, but it's pretty chill. It's pretty cool. Like. So with that, we have come to the end of the podcast, and hopefully, this we won't have to do this again tomorrow.
Oh no, I can't. If we have to do it again, I will definitely work on something new rather than going for this. Like
Going
only
again
for
and
you,
doing
I'm.
this, I know.
Yeah, like only for you, I've agreed to do it the second time because I know how much you wanted to make a
I really wanted to do it.
podcast
I was
on.
so disappointed. I
Yeah,
was so disappointed when the recording didn't happen. I was like, man,
and I still
because I'm
remember like.
just
Hmm.
yeah, go on, go on, go on.
Yeah, like I still remember when I like sent you the whole 300 MB file of like 1 hour 28 minutes. I was like, oh, the podcast will be ready in like couple of days. Manoj will send me, then I will get to share it with my friends as well. Then you text me that, hey bro, can you check that if there is any audio in that file? I was like, what? And I checked it, 1 hour 28 minute of clip,
And
nothing,
nothing. There was
nothing. Oh,
nothing.
I
Oh my
was
God.
so
Do you like?
disappointed.
And actually, there it was like a mystery novel because we had, to the listeners out there, we had like when we initially tried to do some stuff, the mic of Jay's laptop was not working. But it didn't
Oh,
occur to us that no, it was an internal issue, or it would continue to not work when we record the audio. And man, when I saw the audio wasn't there, I was like, it was like the Sherlock Holmes moment where all those things came to my mind like a montage. I'm like, wait a minute, Jay said this, and I'm like, da 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 da.
like so,
But hopefully we can put this up very quickly, and hopefully my video will also come out where I talk about 5 times fan uproar got the studio to cave. Uh,
yeah,
it's not going to be much, to be honest, but it's something. And I have to finish an assignment tomorrow, so based
oh,
on that,
same man, same,
we have
same.
an assignment due tomorrow. So like right now, the life of an MBA student is that we have internships, we have online classes, and we have assignments to do.
And we have this
And
thing which we actually love
yeah,
and like give only a
yeah.
little bit
And for
time of
people
it.
like us who like picked up a hobby in between, we have
Hmm.
this also to do. So but we are not complaining. We are having fun, and
Yeah, yeah.
most of this is a
I th-
huge learning experience for us.
yeah, I think this is the only saving grace of like, especially in my life. Like, this is fun, man.
So I mean, people look at that. This is the only saving grace for Jay. So like keep that in mind. Actually, I just saw a message now. I just saw a
Oh,
message. Like this is pretty cool. Like again, no one is going to listen to this, but one of my friends, who's one of my classmates as well, is celebrating her birthday today. So I guess
oh,
it's. Happy birthday, Pragati. No one is listening to this.
Happy.
I'll probably just send you a timestamp. I'll be like, go to this moment. We are wishing you a birthday wish. But anyway, like,
Happy.
happy birthday, Pragati. Happy birthday, Pigu. Yeah, sorry about that.
Acha,
I
happy
haven't
birthday
called her by her
Pragati
pet
from
name.
me too. Okay.
No, happy birthday, Pigu. Say Pigu.
Pigu. Happy birthday, Pigu.
Yeah, yeah, okay, good job. You would have been fired, like, like Zack Snyder now, if you hadn't said that. Okay, guys, you can subscribe to our channel and do check out Jay's breakdown video. It's
Yes,
very
please do. Please
insightful of
do.
Tenet.
Please, please, please.
And leave us some feedback as well because we are not done this often. We're still learning. I mean, I have worked as a video editor for Aksan's channel, but that's a lot different stuff. It's this stuff is a lot more different. So do give us some feedback because we really want to improve. Do subscribe to the channel if you like this content because it encourages us to do more. And I know we are not that good, but still, we will learn and we will keep doing this hopefully in the weeks to come.
We
My
will.
video will also probably be out. Hopefully, I don't know when, but it'll be out probably by the time when we do this next time. Um,
Hopefully.
you can do please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. The channel name is Nerdistan Podcast. Don't just search Nerdistan in YouTube. You'll land in some other random channel. The channel is called Nerdistan Podcast. Um,
Yeah.
and also follow us on Instagram. The handle is underscore stan, I think. We
Though
messed
there
this
is
up yesterday
nothing
as
in
well.
there yet, there is
There's
nothing
nothing
in
in the
there yet,
channel
but
as to
still follow. If you want to talk to
yeah,
us or
just follow it.
send us
We
messages,
have
yeah,
plans. We have plans. The
yeah,
only
we have.
problem we face, like we're going to be very honest with the viewers. The only problem we face with Instagram and IGTV is that the copyright policies of IGTV is a lot stronger than YouTube. YouTube actually encourages like news or commentatary videos like what we do, but
Yeah.
IGTV like it doesn't really do that. They literally just delete your entire channel, and that happened with Jay before. That's why we're a little bit
Oh,
apprehensive of IGTV, but we are hoping to figure something out. So please do follow the channel as well. Now Jay is not ready to give his Twitter handle, so you can't follow him. Unfortunately, he's in that prestige exquisite club, which you can't follow. But you can follow me. I'm at the Manoj Matthew. You can leave me some feedback. You can tell us what we're doing wrong, and we will try to improve. You can also like DM me. It's completely fine. You can curse me in the DMs. I can take it. It's completely fine. I live in a college where we have 365 days working hours, so we can take any kind of pressure. We are adapted to that. And this is nothing
wow,
against
that's
my college.
yeah, that's like one big monologue from your heart. You speak it from your
Yeah,
heart.
from my heart. Like the college has trained me to, be adaptable to any situation.
Yeah.
I'm giving free press to the college. Like I'm actually doing it.
Great.
Okay, great. Bro. I'm doing great. Okay, then,
Uh,
guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I know we go a little bit off topic here, but that's kind of intentional. We just want to relax and just vent out our nerd feelings. So, which we can't do in a normal day basis. Uh, okay, thing is, yesterday, like in the podcast, I talked about someone who's very special in my life, and I just want to say that I'm thinking about you now.
oh.
That's nothing. It could be a ghost also. It could be a ghost.
Uh,
It could be an
uh,
imaginary figure. I'd probably think it's probably a myth. But with that, we're signing off, guys. My name is Manoj Matthew, and with me is
yeah.
Jay. And
Yeah.
goodbye, guys. Take care. Stay
Bye
safe.
bye. Bye bye. Take care. Take care, everyone.